For this October, I wanted to take a look at some of the horror movies that came out that I really liked. So I'm going to start with Renfield, which is a movie I was really excited for since it was announced. I think back in 2020 when Lee Whannell's Invisible Man came out, it was a big success, and Universal announced that they wanted to make some more standalone monster movies. A lot of them have been announced, a lot of them are still in development, but the one that has come out is Renfield. For decades, Renfield has been serving his master Dracula. After searching for victims at a support group, he learns about codependency and abusive relationships and begins questioning his own relationship with his vampire boss. Once he saves the life of a cop named Rebecca, he's labeled a hero and now strives to break free from Dracula's evil grip and become a better person. When you hear Nicolas Cage is going to be Dracula, you laugh. But the more you think about it, he's always been a monster fan. He's always wanted to play Dracula. And when you see pictures of him like dressed in that outfit, he looks perfect. So you kind of think, yeah, this could work. And he's perfect as Dracula. He's very malicious, he's nasty, he's self-centered, he's a total psychopath, and is very unapologetic about it. The only time he seems to care or show any interest in Renfield is when he knows that he's trapped, or he's about to die, or he's in trouble. And he puts on those puppy dog eyes and just looks at Renfield like, I cared for you, I looked after you, I'm your friend. If I die, you know, who's gonna be there for you? Total master manipulator. And when he's in the costume, he also kind of reminded me of Bela Lugosi. He looks like Bela Lugosi's Dracula, but he also has like a craziness in his eye, like Christopher Lee's Dracula, which I know he said he was inspired by. Nicholas Hoult plays Renfield. He does a great job. He portrays him as a disheveled misfit who has kind of lost his place in life, or he's become complacent in life because he's just, for like 90 years, been serving Dracula, kind of just like, all right, this is what it is, I guess, you know. Once he starts to find kind of like his self-worth in life, you really sympathize with him. Even though he's done terrible things, he's definitely like killed people and done all these evil things, you know, just to please Dracula, you still sympathize with him because you really see it in his eyes that he wants to change. When people see him as a hero, he thinks, oh, I can change, I can break away from this, I can be more, I can be better. And the scenes in the support group with all the other people kind of helping him, supporting him, egging him on, of just like, yeah, we've been where you've been, kind of, you know, so like we're gonna help you. And it's very heartwarming. It's very uplifting because, oh, you like these people too, and you want to see them all be happy, helping each other out, and getting out of their bad situations. While the movie is a comedy, they don't treat the abusive relationship as a joke, and I really like that. I appreciate that they were doing an honest depiction of what these kinds of situations are. They're showing how all the tactics that the aggressor uses to keep the victim under their control. There's a scene in an apartment, in Renfield's apartment, where it's a confrontation between him and Dracula. And it starts off kind of funny, like, uh-oh, it's gonna be, you know, an awkward situation, but it does escalate to a very real and suspenseful moment between the two when Renfield is trying to stand up for himself, but we also see how Dracula is still, after all these years, still capable of making Renfield feel small, and how he keeps him under control. Both of these actors are fantastic in their own scenes, and when they're acting against each other, they're amazing. I think they're both really strong performances. They really work off well each other, and it's what carries the movie, is their scenes together. When it's not focused on them, that's when the movie starts to drag a little bit. So there's a subplot with the cop, Rebecca Quincy, as she's trying to take down the mob, the Lobos, and a corrupt police force. Awkwafina plays Rebecca. I don't think I've ever really seen her in anything, actually. I think she was okay. I just don't think that the character was that strong, was well written, because like a lot of her stuff is very cliche, stuff we've seen before, of being like the daughter of a cop. Like, her dad was like this honest cop, a good man. He was, killed by the mob and all this stuff, so now she's out for revenge. And it's like, okay, I feel like this belongs in another movie though, like not here. But I thought she was okay. There's another villain called Teddy Lobo, who's part of the Lobos family. He was pretty funny, actually. I kind of liked him. He wants to be in charge, wants to be powerful, wants to be taken seriously, but he's also, he's very childish, and he doesn't know what real power is and things like that. He just wants to be taken seriously and prove that, like, no, I can be evil, I can be so evil. He was really funny. I just wish he was more, I don't think they took full advantage of his character. I think there was a lot of potential to make him like a really big villain. It just didn't really like get there for me. Although it was entertaining to watch. So there's a lot of this other stuff going on, and the movie's short. The movie's only like 90 minutes, but because of these scenes, it kind of drags a bit. I think it was very noticeable. It took me a while to remember, like, oh yeah, this is a Dracula movie. Dracula's in this movie, and for a while you kind of forget that you're watching a Dracula movie because it's focusing on all this other stuff. There is narration. Renfield narrates the movie, and I have a theory that maybe because of the editing, they took some stuff out. You can tell that there was like some editing stuff, issues. And I think the reason why this movie has narration is to kind of fill in some gaps. When Renfield saves Rebecca, there was supposed to be this whole song and dance number where he's walking down the streets and he feels like empowered. He's a changed man and he wants to like change his life around. That got cut. And you can tell because watching that scene and then watching like in the movie when it's supposed to come up, it kind of just freeze frames on him. And then you have some narration filling in the gap, jumping to the next scene where he goes back to Dracula. And it's like, okay, that was a little awkward cut, I guess. But there's a lot of stuff in the movie that feels like that. Like, we're cutting a lot. William Ragsdale, Charlie Brewster from Fright Night is in this movie. A lot of horror icons show up in this movie. But they're only on there for a few seconds. I'm thinking maybe they had more stuff that got cut out. There's a whole character who got cut out of the movie. Teddy was supposed to have a little sister. When we're introduced to Teddy and his mom, Bella Francesca, I believe is her name, the mom is talking to somebody behind like a screen. Something's happening behind that screen. We don't see it. I think that's supposed to be the sister. That would have been her introduction. But the only time we see her is in this scene where the Lobos are looking at some security cameras, and there's a girl next to the mom. That's her. And apparently she was supposed to be part of the final fight. She was supposed to be in there. So yeah, a whole character got cut out of the movie, and watching the movie you can tell, like, bits were cut out. It doesn't ruin it, really. It's a little noticeable. So those are some problems. However, there's still a lot of stuff in this movie that I did like. Like the set design, the production design. All these sets look amazing. The lighting of Dracula's lair. He's got like a makeshift lair in this abandoned hospital, and it looks really cool. There's a lot of red and green. The makeup on Dracula is also amazing. It really does feel like a monster movie. The amount of makeup he wears, it reminded me a lot of Darkman. The gore, the amount of violence in this movie is also, it's ridiculous. It is very tongue-in-cheek though. If you've seen the movie, the apartment fight scene with all these cops rushing in to catch Renfield. That's an amazing scene. Since I was a kid, I've always wanted to see a fight scene where somebody gets their arms ripped off and then get beaten up with their arms. This movie gave me that. I saw this in the theater with a kind of a small crowd, actually, but a lot of people, usually older people, like in their 50s or 60s, and during that scene there's so much blood, it's so crazy. There was a 60-year-old guy like in my row who I just heard him go like, "Ha! That is awesome!" And it was. It's a fantastic scene. But the blood in it, it's so fake. It's so like ketchup, orangey, thick, gooey blood. And I was just like, God, that's so fake. They have to know. This has to be intentional. And the more I thought about that, the more I started to realize, I think maybe this movie was trying to be, or is trying to be, like a bad 90s comic book movie, or like a cheesy movie. That would explain the blood, the color scheme, the whole tone of the movie, even like the bad cop, subplot thing. It did really remind me of stuff like Darkman or The Mask, or like Fright Night. William Ragsdale's in the movie, so it definitely reminded me of that. I think that was the intention. Knowing that, it doesn't excuse the mistakes necessarily, but it does put me in a different frame of mind of like, okay, I get it. So it is a mixed bag. Some of the writing and the storytelling could have been better. It was a little messy, but I still really like the movie that I got. I think as long as you know that it's supposed to be goofy and it's very sincere about that, I think you can have a good time with it, because I definitely did. I thought it was really entertaining, and I still think it's a big win for Universal Monster fans. And I'm really excited to see more of these. Maybe not in this vein, but I really want to see more Universal Monster movies. I'm actually surprised that they didn't play Bela Lugosi's Dead in this. But we did get that My Chem song.